Yes. I just thought I'd look at this Black's Law Dictionary. Yes. Look at that. Stock splits 3-for-1. Oh, 100 shares for the total of 300 shares, or 3 shares for each share previously owned. You know how important stock splits are to those that are investors in the stock market. It looked like there was a little depression that happened in 29, and then the population got very upset, and Roosevelt stepped in, and then Hitler decided to go a different direction where he thought he'd stimulate the economy because of the war machinery of the Nazis. Now, why don't you give me all the stock splits on every stock market? I'd just like to know how many did you start with and how many did you end up with and what did you sell? Pooh. Now, it could be that America's wealthy have a difficult time understanding the concept of not having a dog. Ooch, a fish twin? Oh, a lizard in your ass. Somebody sold you on this whole idea that you can just stay home and let your dog do everything. Ooch. The problem is, as soon as you made one of these things, they take over the taxation of the population with the intention of bankrupting the United States of America. You remember that 2 trillion in 2 years? Now, I've thought about these schools, and a lot of America's students live in poor neighborhoods. And it seemed like every time you pass a new bond issue, they all have to have the same quality of schools, regardless about the amount of taxation that their parents actually pay. What if you got a cheap school because you live in a poor neighborhood? Would you think that's discriminatory because your parents don't pay any property taxes? You live in one of these apartment complexes because your mother's on welfare and your father's no good? Now, I looked at the taxation of the property of the United States and I have a different plan. Here's the plan. We take the 20% of the lowest, yes, incomes, and we look at exactly what their schooling needs are, and we make sure that they only build the school that that population can support. Then we look at the 20% of the highest earning neighborhoods in that same municipality, and we give them a small amount from the top 20% to supplement the bottom 20%, so that 60% of America's students, yes, that happen to be not rich and they're not poor, get schools specifically because of the property valuations of where their parents live. Now, it seems that school boards have been approving some very expensive schools because they thought everybody thought that we should all have the same quality of school. But the truth is, you're poor, and that's something you'll have to accept. Sorry. You know, go through the property valuations and look at exactly the property increases in the bond issues and get me those 20% of homes in that bond issue. Yes, that happen to be the properties that pay the greatest amount of property tax. Then get me the 20% of students, yes, whose parents don't pay any property tax because they're renters or they lived in subsidized housing. And then the other 60%, give me the actual amount of property valuation of who they are. Now, some people are going to have to accept that they're poor. Yes. And you're not going to get such a nice school. Oh. And some people that are rich are going to give a small amount to the poor so as to help supplement the costs of school building. Yes. Because as an American citizen, I'm going to sue every school board and all of those on the boards of education so that you never spend any fucking money that you can't afford because he's